What's good, everyone? This your main correspondent, Alan Taylor, and yes, I'm back in the broadcast room yet again, with another little one right here. You know what I'm saying? We got Coach Greg Adam and Hafiz, of the roommates. They talking it out. We about to check this out and see what's going on right here. Heated debate. Basically, is marriage worth it in the 21st century? Let's go through it for a little bit and check this out.
Years. If I had a cocktail, I'd cheers to you. And you've been married 1 year, okay?
Yeah.
And I was in a long-term relationship, single now, all good. What I want to know is, of your friends that have been married somewhat as long as you, I'm not saying as long as you, how many, let's say you have 100 friends. Let's just say 10 friends, just to kind of keep it simple. How many are still married? How many are happily married? How many are like, I just can't wait to be like Coach over here and just, I'm looking, and we're in the 8th inning, I'm trying to get out before the game's over kind of a thing. If you would break that down.
Yeah, so that's actually interesting that I don't have very many friends, well, obviously because of my industry now, but even prior to that, because the friends that I did have that were in marriages, I've always been happy in marriage. I married literally to my best friend. We got married very young. I love him. I enjoy my time with him. We have fun together. I think what I would deal with is a lot of complaining. Like it was every conversation in the break room at work is everybody just hates their husbands. And it was like
these are the women complaining to you. And this is when you were a nurse?
Yeah, all the time. And I had a hard time connecting with people because it's like, well, here I'm going to be this girl like, oh, I love mine. We're going to go out and have drinks. You guys want to go? They're just the guys. I always noticed the husbands were always out with their friends and, the wives were always doing their own thing. It was a very divided household. And I've noticed this too, even my sons, they're older now, but they've told me like at other people's house, it's just crazy. Like I never see the parents sitting on the couch together like you guys do or like.
You know why? Because in the 21st century, it is getting harder and harder to please these bitches. It's getting harder and harder to please a woman in the 21st century. Because you know why? Because they have too fucking much. And then on top of that, they're not satisfied with what they already have. They want more. More and more and more. And every time you turn around with a woman, it's more. I need more. What the fuck?
Like hugging or kissing or, walking in the kitchen, my husband slapped my ass. Like it's just those things, like they don't see any affection. And so I've never connected with a lot of other people because of that. So to answer your question,
they can't get the affection because they too busy nagging the husband all goddamn day. You nagging your husband all damn day, of course he's not gonna give you no affection because he's not feeling affectionate towards you because you nagging all motherfucking day. The hell?
If you said I had 10 friends in a room, I'd say maybe 1 or 2 have at least marriages for that long, but I've never met someone that I think is truly as happy as we are or that enjoys their time together. And I'm not saying that's how a marriage should be because a lot of marriages, they really thrive on that space apart and that's important to them. And so maybe that's just not what they do.
Here's what I'm hearing. And then I'm gonna turn it over to you. You're an anomaly. Okay. You're in a loving,
right,
sex-filled marriage. And you had a career, and now you're doing OnlyFans. Like you're an anomaly, okay? Like you're making more money than most women. You're happily married. Like you're not the average. You're not the typical statistic. You're the
exception.
The exception to the rule, correct? But what I'm also understanding is that a lot of your women, 8 out of 10, are basically in this marriage where they're upset, annoyed. They're sick of their husband. Because a lot of times we hear on my show and shows like this. Men kind of need to be like the man running the show, tell these women what's up. But, women have a voice in this perspective as well. Yeah. And they're kind of being the complaining behind the scenes. Go ahead, Coach.
Well, I want everybody to understand. I'm going to look into this camera right here, so I hope you see me very well here. I want everybody to understand and remember that everything I say from this point, she backed it up, all right? So it's basically zero, all right? You have no hope, no chance. Past the 20 years, and that comes from experience. It also is the experience.
You have no chance of passing 20 years, you're saying?
No. You can pass 20 years. You'll probably be roommates, and you'll probably be overweight in a busted Pillsbury biscuit can, or you'll probably be the exception to the rule. But the data shows us, plus the experience that she expressed, that it's a very difficult thing. And this is what I want men to know.
Yeah.
It is very difficult. Many people will simplify it for you. They will say, oh, just do this and do that, and they will lead you on a wild goose chase. And that's my perspective. That's all that I offer. I tell men to not get married, especially when you don't have leverage. However, I also tell you, do not listen to people who simplify this. This is a very complicated thing that most people fail at miserably.
Got it.
And this is what I want people
let me tee up Hafiz, because you used a few things there about not getting married.
Yeah.
You said sometimes
if you
you'll
don't
turn
have leverage.
Okay, if you don't have leverage, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
And you talk about turning into roommates. Well, this guy is the roommate, the host of the Roommate channel.
Right.
When you're hearing this, you've been married 1 year. And by the way, this guy's a sharp, informed, very intentional guy. My assumption is he didn't just trip and fall into marriage.
He's seen myself before.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So you've been very, you're a calculated dude.
100%.
Okay. So when you're hearing Greg say this,
Yeah.
and even when you're hearing Ali say this, how are you processing this
No,
information?
this is really good, and I'm excited about how this conversation can develop, because I think you've maybe did you react to me and AMS's conversation a couple of years ago about marriage?
I didn't react to it. I didn't do a reaction video.
Okay.
But yeah, I made a comment about it.
Okay, you made a comment about it. Okay, so to me, I'm really excited about it, but it's also key to talk about experience. Experience shapes your view, right?
Yeah.
So a girl who's been abused by a lot of different men, she's gonna have a very cynical leaning view towards men. A man who's been cheated by business partners will have a very cynical view about having potential business partners. So it's also unique to talk about we have to be honest.
Yeah.
Nobody here is 100% objective. That's one of my arguments always with red pill stuff. They say they're speaking the truth. You're not a robot. You know, you have your biases, right? Call it for what it is. We all have our biases. I have biases. You have biases. Coach has biases. As much as we think we are, we have to be 100% honest to the people about our biases. If I'm an individual and I was divorced and I had a difficult experience via marriage, I'm going to have a biased opinion via marriage. Ali has...
Okay, while that is true, okay, while that is true, also what is true is looking at the society that we live in today, looking at the day and time, looking at everything that's going on around us as people, you know, looking at the way people move, men and women. You know, when you get into these relationships and things like that nowadays, the thought process of a lot of people is not to be in a relationship for long term. Let's just keep this real. That's not the thought process of a lot of people. That's the reason why marriages don't last as long as they used to years ago. There are too many things in play that's keeping marriages from lasting as long as they used to. And that's just the truth. That's just the truth.
A positive experience with marriage, so she can have a bias towards, well, great marriages can work, right? So similar to me, the people I admire the most, the people I look up to, are married people. Patrick Bet-David, Jordan Peterson, my father, Pastor Mark Driscoll, people who I look up to the most, right? Long-term marriages, the people that I celebrate a lot. Long-term marriages. My father and mother have been married for over 30 years. Great, healthy marriage.
And I can understand that. And that's the reality of that. You know what I'm saying? Not, of course, you know, the reason why is because, you know, definitely if you want to go back in time, people back in time did not have as many distractions as this generation does. So they were able to last a lot longer because they had each other to survive. They depended 100% upon each other. Nowadays, it's so easy to give up. You know, we living in a society full of a bunch of fucking quitters. And that's just reality. We live in a society full of quitters, and everybody wants to quit all the damn time. Oh, it's so hard. It's just so hard to do this and that and whoop the woo and it. Because you're a fucking quitter. You're a fucking quitter.
Marriage. So that's my opinion. My pastor, Pastor Heidi Lewis, been married for over 25 years. So that's my worldview. And so to me, hearing what he's sharing, there is truth in that. Everything what everyone's going to share, there's going to be truth in it. Yes, if you, like my dad told me a very powerful point. I love my father. He's such a wise older man. He said the most important decision you'll ever make in your life is the one you marry. Yeah. And it can go one of two ways. And this is what I want the guys to understand. We're not teaching naivete. which is, oh, marriage is this perfect thing, and you just meet the one and live happily ever after, and there's no issues, there's no divorces.
Right.
We're not teaching naivete. Marriage.
Yes. You know what I'm saying? Men kind of know this, because a lot of men live in logic. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not so many as used to back in the past and things like that, because, of the way a lot of men nowadays have been raised, due to the fact of the single parent home situation. But in general, most men do live in logic. And we know that marriage is not this fairy tale delusion, but women don't get that. Women have been living in this fairy tale delusion for a long time now. And, that's the reason why we're having all these problems and things like that. Because nowadays, it's coming to a point to where, they're starting to hit a brick fucking wall. A lot of women are starting to hit a brick wall and finding out that this fairy tale shit is just not real. It's just not fucking real.
Marriage can be the worst thing in your life. It can be an absolute living hell. And I guarantee you, you can go for days and for days, and you know so many different stories about people which marriage is an absolute living hell. But we don't want to teach being naive about the realities, but also we don't want to teach nihilism. Right? The other end of the extreme. Marriage is the worst thing possible, and the women are out to get your money, and everyone's miserable, and everybody's roommates, and everybody's this. Because there are some individuals, such as what Alex communicated, who are in happy, healthy long-term marriage, right? So you don't want to be naive.
But what do the statistics say? What are the numbers saying? The divorce rate is up over 80%. What are the numbers saying? The numbers saying that women are leaving marriages at the highest rate in the history of the fucking planet. What are the numbers saying? And this is the facts. Who's leaving? The women are. It's the delusional state of mind that these individuals are in. And that's causing the problems. That's destroying the families. That's destroying the whole damn foundation. A lot of these sisters and women out here are taking jackhammers to their concrete foundation and they're destroying it on their own. Let's just keep this shit 100.
You want to be nihilistic. You want to be as real as possible. Give me the good, the bad, and the ugly. And my biggest thing is that I understand that marriage is a very difficult thing to get right. And the same thing is like, I love how what you do is marriage and money, right? I think we're going to be talking about those two things today.
See, the thing of it is with me, marriage wouldn't be so damn hard if motherfuckers stopped living in this goddamn delusion. If you stop being so damn delusional about the reality of life, marriage is not that fucking hard. Living life really is not that fucking hard. If everybody stopped being so damn delusional. That's part of the fucking problem.
Adam, you're a 1% man financially, right? That means 99% of people are trying to get to where Adam is. Most people live paycheck to paycheck. They're struggling.
Yep.
Their lives suck when it comes to money. Most people are struggling, but they're trying to get where you are. That's how I view relationships. Most people are in really sucky relationships.
Yeah.
Most people, it's a day-to-day war, hell, the way work is, the way the gym is. But then there are some people who...
See, the thing with me is on this, right here, and this breaks this shit all the way down. If you have two people that come together, you know what I'm saying? Let's just keep it minimal. You know, you have two people come together. You know, he's making let's just say the man's making 50, she's making 40. Okay, you put those two incomes together. You know what I'm saying? You have a household that's bringing in a good, decent amount of money. I'm talking about putting those incomes together and not sitting around trying to, oh, well, you got your money, I got my money, this and that. You can't live in the same household and everybody want to talk about you got your money, I got my money. Yeah, of course, that's roommates at the fucking end of the day. You know? That's what the fuck that is. You know, but see, that's the problem. You know, throughout history, women had to work too, especially in the black community. Now all this housewife shit came along with, you know, of course, you know, white men, they, you know, they're always been in the lead in this country as far as economics and money. So yeah, they had the most resources. So yeah, they can have their wives sit at home all day and, you know, basically do laundry or sweep the floors or this and that, which 9 times out of 10, back in the day, most of them didn't even do that. They hired maids, which was a black woman who came in and scrubbed the damn floors. Let's keep this shit true. So, you know, when you bring two incomes together, you know what I'm saying? You bring those two incomes together, you got, you know, what, 40 and 50 and fucking 40, you know, shit, you looking at, you know what I'm saying, right at 100 something a year for that household. You have to put that together. You have to think of the household as one collective. If two people are working and that household itself collectively bringing in that type of income is worth 100 and something thousand a year, then you're making good money. Start being content with where you at. Stop trying to buy a $500,000 home when you're only bringing in 100,000 a year collectively together. Because collectively together, be honest with you, you could have 100,000, maybe a $250,000 home. You know, that's decent living. That's good living. That is good living. Stop being so fucking greedy. And if you want more, it's going to take time to get more. Stop wanting more so fast. Stop trying to rush every damn thing.
Who are having it at the highest of level. The same way nobody says, oh, well, most people are not going to be in the 1%, so screw it. You should even try. It's, you know, 90% of businesses end in 10 years. You should even try. We say, if somebody's going to succeed, why not you? Which is why I love what you're doing. If someone's going to be rich, why not you? If someone's going to make money, why not you? If someone's going to have a great podcast, why not you? So for me, I acknowledge that the top of the mountain is rare. I acknowledge that. But what I also acknowledge is that if somebody's going to win, why not it be you? And how can we help as many men as possible get there? Everybody won't be able to get there, but how many people can we help get there? And that's what, to me, matters the most.
Gotcha.
Preach. I love that.
Now, when you hear something like this, obviously he's sort of saying, all right, I hear you, coach. Your marriage didn't work. You got out, you know, thank God, before the 10-year mark. So you'd probably be a little bit more spiteful than you are. Not saying that you're spiteful, but you'd be even more spiteful if you're paying a ridiculous amount of alimony and everything that you'd be paying. But is there anything wrong with that if he's saying? He's basically saying, I hear you, coach. It ain't easy out there, brother. Like, life's tough. Marriage is tough. Making money is tough. Things are tough. But don't tell me that I shouldn't get married, or don't tell me that I can't have a successful marriage. How do you process that?
I don't think anyone says do not get married. I think they caution people to say do not get married. If I say do not get married without leverage, that is a position, right, that you can change. Thus, if you read my book, it says once you get to that position, you can then make the decision. You'll probably come out better than going in it without it. However, this is what I will always say. When men do find that solution does not work out, they are left alone. There's nobody to help them. So people encourage people, hey, why not? Give it a try. But when you go bankrupt, when you lose your kids, when your kids are taken from you, when the courts kind of punish you for making this decision or punishes you for being a slightly better, higher earner, then nobody's there with information. Nobody's there with...
Right, here we go. I'm letting the crows out. I'm letting the deaf crows out. Real talk, they're gonna pick your fucking skeleton apart. They're gonna do everything to diminish you and put your ass in a sling. Now, listen, look. I come from a long line of married people. You know, all my ancestors, they died together. I come from marriage, family. Real talk. So I know what it means to actually be married. Compromising, decision making, understanding that everything has to be in a successful marriage, everything has to be a compromise. But we live in a society where we're dealing with individuals who do not want to compromise. And we know this.
The context. No one's there to help them. And I believe, not feel, I know, understand, believe, and I have evidence to show that men are left alone when they don't succeed in this endeavor. And that is the void that I feel. Because I can tell you, hey, men are alone in this situation. Men are homeless. Men are thinking about eating guns. Men are thinking about, they have no way out. Men are losing big time, and we're losing a fraction of men due to manipulation, due to people trying to, they may be hurt. A woman might be hurt in a marriage, or she might feel that she's not being appreciated. And then she throws a grenade in the room. What happens then? See, that's where I come in. I get to show you what happens when the grenade is there. And I also encourage you, you're not alone in this. A lot of people come to my content and they find out, oh, you too? See, before, as I said, 70 years ago, 40 years ago, 30 years ago, there was nobody presenting this side of the argument.
This side, I see what you're
Right.
saying.
This right
with
here.
that. Got it.
Nobody,
Right.
they just left men alone and they said, well, you must not have
Yeah.
been hitting it right. Or you must not have loved her right. Or you must have abused the kids. That's what she said.
Right.
She said that you were, and nobody.
Right. It's all blame the man. It's all blame the man. Everything goes wrong. It's all blame the man. But in reality, though, it's two people there with two brains, with two thought processes, with two sentient beings that are there that decided to come together that's going to live life. Now, you want to sit here and say that only one person, excuse me, that only one person out of the two are responsible for the whole ship drowning, for the whole situation failing? Is that the shit that you're trying to feed me? It's making no sense.
Came to this position. So listen, there was a void open and I ran right
Yeah.
through the
So
hole.
when you talk about leverage, break down what you mean by leverage. Are you talking about in a marriage before you get married? Are you talking
Correct.
about a prenup? You're talking about a set of rules, guidelines? What's this leverage you're referring
Well,
to?
a lot of men, a lot of men are looking to be loved, right? So a lot of men, the
Right.
transaction is always men give, women receive. So in this instance, once men do a lot of giving, they may sacrifice, they may risk things, but they're risking the little things that they have. They don't know what they're going to lose in the future, right? So by that point, they will probably avoid a prenup. They might say, I don't need a prenup. I don't have anything, right? And so he'll get married. He'll build some things. Once the commitment is made and once the investment is made, then he has something. So then when they say, well, you better love her right, you better screw her right, you better appreciate her right, and he says, well, it's still not working, she's not happy. Well, then he knows he can measure how much he's going to lose because he now has leverage, but the leverage is attached to a marital contract. And then at that point, he can say, well, I don't want to lose my 2 or 3 kids. I don't want to lose my house. I don't want to lose my car. He knows then, and also he has no protection. He didn't get a prenup because he didn't have leverage. This is what a lot of young men in their 20s don't understand because they don't know what they're going to lose. They can't measure it. Once you're 40 and you've accumulated things and you have leverage, you have position at a company, and a woman says, hey, I want to marry you, and you will know what you're going to lose. And at that point, you can make a conscious decision whether they engage in a state-funded marital contract.
Yeah.
That's leverage. Most men get married without the leverage.
Did you have a prenup when you got married?
I was married at 28, 27, engaged at 27, 28. So absolutely not. I
You did not have one.
Nope.
And if you ever get married again, would you get a prenup?
I would advise
Clearly,
every
yes?
man. I mean, listen, a prenup is somewhat of a protection. It's just something to fight over in court. If there's something to be there, she could just fight it, and now you lost on the money, right? But I did not. I would encourage men to do so if they want to do
Ali,
it.
when you got married, did you have a prenup?
No, and honestly, like just hearing you speak, I feel like you come from a place that obviously had a negative experience with stuff, or you kind of, I guess I can't imagine ever looking.
Oh, here we go with the who hurt you. Basically, in so many words, here we go with the who hurt you. You know what I'm saying? Now, yeah, of course she didn't directly say that, you know, but in so many words, it's the who hurt you.
Into a marriage, like even going into the thought of marriage, maybe because I was so young and I didn't have to, of with so much like guardedness. I feel like going into a marriage and falling in love with someone, there's a little bit of a leap of faith there. And so sometimes when you make it too
If you don't learn how to own your
Hold on.
transactional, I don't know. I feel like for me, it would take a lot away. And maybe again, because I was so young, we were kids ourselves. We didn't have anything to protect. But I feel like maybe that mindset is what's quite toxic for people that aren't able to find love, is when you constantly live in that, well, she might screw me over, I gotta protect this. Like, how can you ever fully let yourself like go and submit to just being in love and like letting that guard down? And I think the women have a lot to lose too. It's not just men, you know,
Yeah,
obviously.
right. But we don't speak from the women's perspective because we're men. But
Yes.
we also have to understand people go homeless over this. People lose their lives over this. This is
Oh,
serious.
yeah.
It's like saying I joined the military and I was just hoping that I came out of the war not injured, not disabled, not ruined mentally. And then, I don't know why you would go over there and think that. Well, this is a battle.
Well,
and the battles are won and lost in these
It's
marriages.
not a battle, though.
Right.
I think this is where the language has to be used correctly. And I think to me, I love the balancing act that's going to happen today, because I think what's going on is that I understand. So there's this idea of Eastern versus Western marriage. Let's just say Greg is on the East, she's on the West. Eastern marriage is all about logic. Does it make sense? Arranged marriages, right? Two families, two worldviews, two ideologies. Doesn't matter how you feel. It matters, does it make the most sense?
They're the most successful.
But see, though, that's the thing. That's the thing. Throughout the history of this damn planet, that's what's been working. That is what's worked throughout the history of the planet. Logic. Moving strategically. What the hell? Now we just want to throw it out the window on all this hope and it, you know. Yes, I understand faith is a part of life too, but Jesus Christ, you know what I'm saying? Man, come on. Logic is a part of life too. A very big deal part of life. If it wasn't, society would have been crumbled thousands of years ago.
So, by the way, arranged marriage.
We can talk about that in the future.
Sure. Yeah.
So Greg comes from that mentality of, if you're gonna get in this agreement, you need to write out the agreement clear as day. What does this entail? What does it get? If
Right.
you leave, you get this. If you leave without this, you don't get nothing. Like, it's a very systematized business kind of contract, because it is in essence
business
a
contract.
business contract.
Correct.
Because, and this is why when you were talking about the idea of like when men fail in marriage, they lose everything. That's wrong.
No, I didn't say they lose everything, but they lose an awful lot.
Let's stop.
Yes.
That's still wrong.
Well, why is it wrong?
Because
I mean-
let me tell you why. Because when men lose at anything in life, they lose a lot. You lose your job. Who's gonna come save you? Who, if you screw your friends over, like as a man, that's the name of the game. You lose, you're gonna lose a lot. You fail, you're gonna fail a lot. So I'm not saying that it's wrong. Like marriage doesn't count. I'm saying
That's the reason why you're supposed to have logic and logically think things through. Come on. So you won't put yourself in a position to where you would lose a lot.
marriage is a part of all the things as a man where you cannot get wrong, which is why I agree with the message that you're giving at times. That's why you got to be 100% serious. You don't go at this naive. You don't go at this because you understand that there is a cost for this decision. So going back to the Eastern thing, but on the West, you have marriage as all feelings. Oh my gosh, we love each other. Oh, we don't, you know what? You make $1 million, I make $10,000. We're gonna be together for the rest of our lives. Oh, you're this, you're that. Oh, your dad was an alcoholic. We'll never have any problem. Like, it's a very naive model, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why Western marriages have issues, because it's all feelings. And to me, which is why I love Adam, is about balance. Mm-hmm. How do we balance these two ideologies? Because to Ali's point, if it's all logic, it's boring. If it's all
See, this is the thing. You know, people back in the day used to have this figured out. It was already figured out back in the day. So what the fuck is the problem now? Oh, now the problem. This is the problem now. Yeah. Now this is the problem. Yeah. Like he did say, yeah, it's way too much feeling in it. Way too much feeling. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I can understand too if you just have a super strict logic, situation, then, where's the joy? Where's the, you have to have that balance. You have to have a balance. You know what I'm saying? But in the society that we're living in, it's based off of feelings now. So it's just all feel with no logic.
All robotic. There's no passion. There's no excitement. There's no je ne sais quoi. It's just a dry thing that in the modern world people don't want that, right? But if it's all feelings, there's no structure, there's no protection, there's no wisdom, there's no guidance. So I think it's a marriage of those two ideas to be able to create long-term solutions for long-term success. And that's why I agree with that. When we come from too much leaning on one direction, either or, it becomes problematic.
I believe he agreed with me though. I thought he was disagreeing.
Well, I guess
I was agreeing. Yeah,
that's what I thought.
That's how I play. I was like, yeah.
So just to be clear, did you get a prenup when you got married?
No, and I
you didn't.
I'll explain to you guys why. So I think, and I talked about this. I love the prenup conversation. I think it's important. Mm-hmm. There's three reasons why I didn't get a prenup. But the first reason is I actually believe prenups are good and bad. They're good because they protect you. They're bad because they don't protect you enough. What I personally believe is something which I did research about this called a marriage contract. You may not like this, but please give this to me. How many kids do you have?
3.
So let's say Allie married her man and she said she wanted 3 kids, right? Yeah. She gets married, she wants 3 kids. All of a sudden, prior to marriage, he agreed. She said, honey, I want 3 kids. Is that cool with you? He said, of course, baby, you want 3 kids, we're gonna have 3 kids. She's married. 5 years into it, hey, when are we having our kid? Next year. When are we having our kid? Next year. It's year 8. He's like, I don't want any kids anymore. Should she stay in that marriage? He agreed, and she both agreed that we were gonna have 3 kids. That's why she married him.
Now, I definitely understand. On that point, yes. When you're going into a marriage and both of you all agree upon something, you know what I'm saying? Everybody needs to uphold the end of their damn agreement. Period. I don't give a fuck what's happening, all this, where people change and this and that. See, that's the problem. You're doing too damn much changing. Consistency is what makes for the success of life. Consistency. If you're going into something and you go into it and then you try to change, there's no consistency there. You're gonna fuck up shit.
When it was time to have kids, he changed his mind. Well, I don't want kids anymore. Should she stay in that marriage? Let's go on the guy's side because the red pill guys love when guys are being the victim. So you're a man, and you're married. You agreed that we're gonna have.
Whoa. It's not that red pill loves when men are the victims. We have been victims for a very long time here now. You know what I'm saying? But now that we're speaking upon it, it's a fucking problem. Now that we have the technology and the avenues and the channels and the videos and all this proof that, a lot of men have been being screwed with no Vaseline. Now it's a problem. Now it's all this. Okay, whatever.
Have sex, let's say twice a week. That's
an agreement.
I'm just saying
that's a verbal contract.
We're agreeing that we get in there at least twice a week. All of a sudden, she's like, I'm not in the mood anymore. She's like, oh, now I'm on my period.
That won't be all of a sudden. That'd be almost immediate. But go ahead.
Okay, and then months into it, right?
Yeah.
she says, well, I only want to have sex once every 6 months. Should he stay there? You both agreed initially, like, yo, we're gonna do this consistently, and now he's getting it. Should he stay there? So to me, what's very important about the marriage is that before you get into it, both of you guys need to agree upon everything. This is where I think the nuance in the evolution. Agree on everything so the woman's protected as well as the man is protected. And so to me, that's what me and my wife did. Before we got married, we talked about everything. Every single scenario, every single thing. Me, I'm not a money guy. I'm not motivated by money. So therefore, the money, like, I'm different. Everyone knows me. I'm not a money guy. So you can have all the money. I have my brain. I can start from ground zero. I'll build the money back up. I don't mind money. But to me, because it's another argument that we can talk about later, is that the kids is a whole different conversation. Kids are more wealth than money. So I was more obsessed with children than money, because end of the day, like I said, we can talk about that later. But so to me, in regards to losing money, I don't care about losing money. Take whatever you want. If worst case scenario things happen. But by having a marriage agreement, both of you guys understand what's expected of you. And if one person obviously breaks this agreement, both families know. So if she wants a certain amount of kids and I say I don't want it anymore, then her family knows, though, yo, Hafiz, you promised my daughter this, you didn't give it to her, so it makes sense that this marriage is null and void.
Is this? We all understand what a prenup is, all right? Like, it's signed, lawyer, date, bing, 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 bing. What is a marriage contract? Is it a verbal agreement? Is it a written agreement?
It can be.
You're saying that the families know each other?
Yeah,
what is that exactly?
It can be one of three things, right? It can be written between you and this individual, which is the least ideal. The second ideal is you can actually get a mediator or a legal arbiter to actually sign this for you. So therefore, like in the worst case scenario, if you go to court, this is now a legal document, right? So this is a legal document that can be able to be proved in court. But I know a lot of the red pill guys don't like the idea of marriage being controlled by the state. And if you look at a lot of traditional Eastern societies, marriage is really agreement between families.
Right.
So to me, I think it's really about the families agreeing to this and the families being aware of expectations on both sides. So therefore, there's family accountability. Because what's the problem in the West is there's no accountability. Like you say, if the wife...
we agree mostly on all of these things. You understand what's going on here. When you're talking about these marriages and business contracts and family, this is where we agree. Yeah. And unfortunately, we get into the loss into the romance and the feelings part of it, which feelings do change, right? 100%. Your feelings changed about me about a minute ago. People change, and thus though the marriage contract doesn't change with the state. So you have to have those things understood and be in the proper position.
Okay, so let me just paint a picture here. So I was married very briefly, okay?
Divorced?
Divorced.
Uh-oh.
But I had a prenup.
Yeah,
but the entire, without throwing myself under the bus here, she needed to expedite the marriage, you know what I'm saying, in order to.
Yeah, I got it.
So I said, I got you, baby. I love you, but you have to sign and date here, and these are the expectations I've had if I do this for you. And it wasn't like a marriage built to last. It was I'm here for a good time, not a long time type of situation. You could read between the lines here if you know what I mean.
And that's the problem. Today in this world that we're living in, and this society that we're living in, you want to talk about marriages, but people nowadays are not being built to be in marriages for long term, to die together, basically. I put it out there, damn it, I said it, you heard it right here on the bottom line. People are not being built to die in marriages. They're being built to be there for a fun time, not a long time. And it is what it is. If you want to, see more of it, here we go. Lord, let's go. That's the channel right there. As you clearly see, real talk. It is what it is, man. It's sad, but it's true. People are not being built to be in marriages for a long time anymore. And that's just the facts of the matter. But if you made it this far, real talk, I appreciate you. Like, share, subscribe. Please always hit that like button. Please hit that like button out there for me. Shout out to all my subscribers. Thank y'all. You know, I'm trying to reach 500, you know what I'm saying, like talking about, and then, you know, we're gonna keep the channel growing. And you know, mad love to everybody. You know, just be safe out there. Always protect yourself at all times. And like I always say about this time, that, my friends, is the bottom line.